Good evening. My name is Daniel Kosla, and the title of this presentation is the Rising Minimalist. The purpose of this presentation is to explore how a small company that was virtually unknown, named Zero Shoes, was able to grow and dominate their niche market, and also what challenges they face now as well as in the future. The value of this is that other businesses that might be in a similar situation can see what this company did and hopefully also improve their situation. Right now, the running footwear industry is a $600 billion industry. It's dominated by firms such as Nike, Adidas, Asics, Merrell. These are all huge companies who are mainstream and cater specifically to people who want to be athletic, workout, and competitive. And the big problem right now is there is only so much you can do with shoes. So the market is very competitive, and innovation is the main differential. Companies that are able to set themselves apart from others are winning the competition, such as Nike, which comes out with new materials, new forms of cushioning, new forms of arch support, really just new styles of running shoes to add a little difference and differentiate themselves from everyone else. Zero Shoes is a minimalist shoe brand, which is different from Nike in that instead of going with support, cushioning, etc., they go with the exact opposite. They go with as little as possible to make what something qualifies as footwear. They were a small company founded in 2009 and very obscure, largely unknown until 2013, where they appeared on the hit show Shark Tank. This is a show where entrepreneurs present their ideas to investors, and investors look at the model, look at their finances, and look at their whole business plan and decide if they want to invest. Now, unfortunately, Shark Tank wasn't successful. It wasn't a successful opportunity for Zero Shoes. They were essentially laughed out of the show and told that their product would flop. Well, the thing about Shark Tanks is also it's viewed by about 9 million people. So while they didn't do well in front of the sharks, 9 million people saw their product, grew to love it, and because of this, their profits the following year doubled and tripled the year after that. So as a result, even though they weren't accepted, they profited and they grew into a big company. Today, in their minimalist shoe category, they're actually the biggest and most profitable of the manufacturers out there. Zero Shoes is largely an online company. 65% of their sales come from e-commerce, and most of that actually comes from Zero Shoes' own site. Some of it comes from eBay and Amazon, but most of it comes from zeroshoes.com. The remaining 35% comes from wholesalers, people who either export the shoes overseas or who buy the shoes from Zero Shoes and then sell it independently on their own website. Additionally, they also partner with a couple stores, about 50 stores in the US, which seems like a big number. However, they don't have a lot of shelf space on these stores. So that really doesn't make that big of an impact. And 50 stores nationally is not that big. Finally, they also sell at trade shows, at running expos, really conventions that are where people that are interested in running and athletics get together. Well, Zero Shoes performs well here. However, these shows are also minimal. As a result of being online, they have a strong social media presence, and they encourage people to post their own content and make the site feel like their own. Their hashtag is Live Feet First, and it's actually proven quite popular and has done a good amount of has been very successful in spreading their message. Looking at Zero Shoes, their strengths are that they have great customer engagements. Customers respond positively to their social media posts, as well as frequently post their own content. And also, their products are good. They make good quality products. People are happy with them, and they have a lot of return buyers. The weakness, of course, is minimalist running is a niche market. So not many people know about their shoes. As a consequence, Zero Shoes has a small fan base. Additionally, they only have about 50 or so stores where the products are carried, none of them specific to Zero Shoes itself. So really, physical locations are minimal, and not many people can actually see the product or even are aware that it exists. Opportunities exist for the company, though. The minimalist movement is still growing. People are still following the trend, and people are still adapting the running style of minimalist. However, a threat is that it's expected to slow down. While it's popular now, in the future, people see it starting to wane and eventually level off. Not only that, Zero Shoes sells sandals. That's their main product. They are diverging into shoes. However, sandals are still the main product, and sandals like they sell are actually relatively easy to copy. So they do have competitors out there. But since Zero Shoes is an internet company, their website is their prime means of sales. So let's compare Zero Shoes with some of their competitors. Luna Sandals is their closest direct competitor. Luna Sandals actually used to be the biggest minimalist shoe company. However, they have faded recently. Chaco Shoes, or Chaco Sandals, forgive me, is who Zero Shoes considers to be their current big competitor. And they sell mainstream sandals. They're a very well-known company, very large, and they have great product, great following. And then there's Merrell, who is a mainstream shoe company. Merrell's a competitor of Nike, and the reason they're on here is to compare Zero Shoes to somebody who is mainstream. Now, Zero Shoes, their website is actually doing very well. If you look at their Alexa rating, it's actually not that far away from Chaco. Of course, it's nowhere near Merrell. However, it's much better than Luna's. And as far as page views per day, well, Zero Shoes is actually doing pretty well. Again, not too far from Chaco, who is a mainstream competitor. And that Zero Shoes is in a niche market, but they are looking to go mainstream, especially with the introduction of their new sandals and their new shoes. Of course, Merrell, for comparison's sake, is doing much better. Finally, their AdWords traffic. Google doesn't seem to rely on AdWords nearly as much as its competitors. However, based on the net worth of its site and its Alexa rating, it seems to be doing very well on its own without the help of AdWords. As I mentioned, they're big on social media. Their two biggest venues are Facebook and Twitter. However, they're also on Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, all the big ones. However, looking at their Facebook followers, they have quite a bit. Much more than Luna, though nowhere near what Merrell and Chaco have. Same with Twitter. However, as far as their posts per week go, they post multiple times per day, close to twice a day actually, which as far as Facebook goes, it's much better than their competitors, though, as you can see under Twitter, Chaco Sandals beats them out. However, if you look at the amount of responses their posts generate, they're actually doing very well. Their likes, shares, comments per response is actually very similar to that of Chaco and Merrell. Now, if you consider how many followers Zero Shoes has versus Chaco and Merrell, you'll notice that Zero Shoes' followers have to be much more engaged to compete with these larger competitors, which means that for every post Zero Shoes does, their individual followers are much more likely to respond to it, post it, share it, to engage with it. And this goes to show that their followers are actually much more engaged, much happier, and their fan base is much stronger than Chaco and Merrell. So even though Chaco and Merrell have more people, Zero Shoes has better fans. Zero Shoes currently faces two large challenges. The first form of challenge is one that faces the minimalist shoe category entirely. And the main thing when it comes to this is lack of consumer education. For decades now, consumers have been told that they need certain features like arch support, like cushioning, like heel support. They've been told that these are requirements for good running. And that's actually not what the science shows. So Zero Shoes has to overcome years and years of of advertising that has been detrimental to their brand, and actually convince people that no, the science actually shows something different. Researchers have found different things matter. So that's one challenge. The other challenge is when people look at sandals, they think they look primitive, unrealistic. They don't think anyone could ever run a race in something minimalist like what Zero Shoes wears. Well, this is another problem because, of course, people do. People continually run in their products and demonstrate that they work. However, Zero Shoes does have to show people that they are a valuable solution to traditional running shoes. Finally, the last challenge is that switching to minimalism changes your running style, and this requires a transition period. People's feet and legs just generally don't have the muscles built up. The muscles are just too weak initially. So they have to gradually strengthen those muscles so they can completely transition. Well, when it comes to runners and athletes in general, they're not known for being the most patient people. So when you tell somebody that this great product is something you have to wait to use or you have to slowly transition into, they tend to hesitate and they're not too happy about it. However, when it comes to these challenges, the big shoe companies have actually been slowly moving into the minimalist category, going away from the traditional shoes and actually branching out because minimalism is a good market to be in. So as a consequence, a lot of the big shoe companies are starting to undo a lot of the advertising they've been putting out for decades. And they're actually helping reverse some of these trends and educate consumers and also overcome the negative stereotypes. The next form of challenge is one that's specific to Zero Shoes itself. Now, to analyze these issues and to see how they ranked up, I actually looked at Zero Shoes' own website, which allows customer reviews, as well as Amazon, which is a little more unbiased, and also is a big venue for Zero Shoes to sell its own products. Of these, by far, the biggest problem came with sizing. Zero Shoes are sandals, however, they're sized differently than traditional shoes. So when a customer looks at the shoe size, when the shoe size that they sell on the website, a size 10.5 on their website does not correlate to a size 10.5 shoe. And this has caused products where people don't quite know what they should be buying and either have to buy the wrong size and return it, or they're just worried about buying anything and really choose a different product instead. But either way, people complained about difficulty choosing the right size, the wrong size, 45% of the time. The next biggest complaint was weather. Zero Shoes are open-toed sandals, and people found them impractical in the wintertime, which of course they are, but also in the rain. People thought the shoes were slippery and didn't quite adhere to the foot as well as other sandals. And like I said earlier, Zero was trying to go into regular shoes. Well, complaints about the regular shoes were that they were very hot in the summertime, so perhaps they don't air out as well. Next, with 50% of the comments came aesthetics. People didn't think Zero Shoes sandals were very aesthetically pleasing. They thought they were weird looking, a little primitive. People weren't happy about it. And then finally, with 5% of the issues, were people complaining about lacing and the support straps. The lacing can be complicated. However, Zero Shoes does have several videos on it to explain it. Perhaps these 5% just didn't find the videos, or perhaps they didn't understand the videos. But 5% isn't that big an issue compared to 45, 20, and even 15%. I contacted Susie Bragg, the vice president of Zero Shoes, about these issues and about how the company plans on fixing them. And according to her, their main goal is rebuilding the website. A new website is projected to launch in January 2019, and it's going to alleviate a lot of customer questions and issues, and they're going to focus on educating customers. They're also going to try to make the website just more user-friendly and helpful in general. And according to her, initial tests have been positive. Now, another thing, as far as their specific problems go, is a live chat feature. If people have questions about sizing or about anything else, there's going to be a live chat feature where they can just click and chat with one of their customer service representatives anytime they want. And this should do a lot to help customers answer questions. Even though the customers can try these shoes on in regular stores, you can have somebody there anytime to help you out. They also have a toll-free number in case somebody doesn't want to use the live chat feature, which, while it is on the website, they're going to try to make it more prominent. Finally, they're going to increase the use of brand ambassadors. Zero Shoes has always been big on using brand ambassadors. However, they're going to give them more authorities and hire more of them. Now, brand ambassadors are people who can go out and demonstrate the products in a real environment. So, for example, they have ambassadors who are runners. They have ambassadors who are weightlifters. They have ambassadors who are just travelers. People who represent the lifestyle that Zero Shoes tries to market to and who they try to portray themselves as. These are their brand ambassadors, and these are the people Zero Shoes wants to use to promote their products. Somebody can see them using Zero Shoes and, of course, realize that they're helpful, and if they have questions, they can ask these people anything they need. And it's actually been shown that use of brand ambassadors by Zero Shoes has increased sales versus markets where they're not used. Now, looking at where the industry is going, where the shoe industry is going, specifically the athletic shoe industry and minimalist shoes in general, it's predicted there's going to be an increased popularity of non-traditional races. So people who running is very popular. However, non-traditional races are gaining popularity. And by this, I mean races that are not strictly running. For example, obstacle course races, adventure races, basically off-trail races. All sorts of things where people can still be physically fit, run, but just not on a straight road like one would think of a traditional race. Next is an increase in women participants. Women are feeling more empowered, and there's more marketing directed at women and pushing them to be active and compete with the male counterparts. So in the future, Predictions are that women will start participating more. Males still make up the majority of this market, but women are slowly gaining ground, and they need to be catered to. Finally, or not finally, next is an increase in the reliance on technology. We see smartphones, we have smartwatches, tablets, everything's being integrated into with the computers. Even refrigerators are smart nowadays. Well, shoes are no exception. In the future, we'll see smart shoes that are connected by Bluetooth to phones, computers, etc. These will actually monitor exactly how a person runs, where their strike pattern is, any issues, let them know how often their foot hits the ground. Anything they might want to know, they're going to be able to get from their shoes. So technology is going to play a more important role in the future. However, with technology becoming more important, there's going to be a backlash against it. Just like minimalism right now is a type of backlash against traditional running, in the future, there's going to be people who are just tired of computers and are going to want to escape all technology and just run in traditional style shoes outside, away from everything. So this trend will also grow. Finally, customization. More products are being custom made, especially now with 3D printing becoming more accessible, and even on websites, there's a lot more customizations options. Well, pretty soon, shoes are going to be able to be custom made to people's feet. This is a trend that we can see happening just with computers and their processing power increasing. Our recommendations for Zero Shoes to increase its efficiency and to continue advancing in the market and growing bigger is to increase its reliance on AdWords. Google AdWords is large. Google itself is ubiquitous, and most people who go online have questions about anything go on Google to search. Well, Zero Shoes is trying to enter new markets, also trying to educate consumers. Well, if somebody's searching for keywords that fit any of these categories, Zero Shoes can capitalize on this by using AdWords and by gaining them and attract them to their website where they can have suggestions. They can say, this is why you need our product, and they can really educate consumers and reach them a new way by using AdWords. So I recommend they do that. Next, Zero Shoes is the biggest minimalist shoe company, and they do have a lot of great brand ambassadors who know a lot about the brand and about their specific sports. However, there's no central website for people to go in and learn about minimalism, its benefits, and even ask questions or get advice. Zero Shoes should build such a website where they can actually engage the customer and actually show that they're knowledgeable in the matter and that they're experts in this whole business. They have the resource to put together such a website and basically let the consumers come in, ask their questions, and get over any issues they might have. Finally, while Zero Shoes really is focused on minimalism, a lot of their materials are innovative. For example, the rubber sole they use is actually a new type of material that's very resistant, yet absorbent to shock, and flexible. Well, this is a new material, and it can be used to promote the brand, to get away from the idea of it being primitive, old school, and outdated. Well, if they present themselves as innovative and using newest technology and newest materials, they can get over this. Next, they can offer customization. Now, while their products are produced overseas in bulk, they can actually customize these products back here in the US. And speaking to one of their brand representatives, Randy Creel, he actually suggested that this would be an easy implementation. Of course, there would be an additional fee involved. However, this is something Zero Shoes can do to appease their customers and let them know that, hey, if you have a problem with the sizing, lacing, anything like that, we can take care of it for you in-house and ship it to you at a small extra fee. Finally, with non-traditional races gaining popularity, Zero Shoes could actually sponsor some of these. This would be a great way for them to promote their product and reach out to markets that they might not necessarily have access to traditionally. People will show up from all sorts of walks of life to try new products. People love new races. If Zero Shoes capitalize on this, this will take them far. And now this brings me to references. There's a lot here. However, it's also in my term paper. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening.